Welcome everyone to ENR 252. In this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about the textbook, the homework for this course, and how the textbook is organized. So this is our textbook. It's available from the MCC bookstore. I'm using the 14th edition of the textbook, which is what you would get from the MCC bookstore. If you choose to use the 13th edition instead, there's a problem map in my course folder on the M drive. So if you go to the M drive, then courses, then engineering, then ENR 252, then more, you will find the problem map. If you use the 13th edition, this will tell you the corresponding numbers between the 13th and the 14th edition. So you're free to do that if you'd like to. If you use the 14th edition, you should also go to the M drive, and there's a list of mistakes in the 14th edition. And I would recommend taking a look at that this week or as soon as you get your textbook. And my suggestion would be to make corrections in your textbook so that you don't get tripped up later on when you come to one of those problems that has a mistake and you're checking the solution. You want to know that your solution is wrong because the textbook is wrong. Okay, so I'm pretty confident that any problem I assign you for homework, if there was a mistake, we would have found it already. So if you go and you try problems on your own that weren't example problems in lecture and that weren't assigned as homework, just know that there's a larger probability than you would like that the solution in the textbook is wrong. Okay, so it's not a really big deal, but just know the textbook isn't perfect. Okay, so before we take a look at how the textbook is organized, I'm going to talk a little bit about homework. So I will be assigning homework problems from this textbook, and you'll be submitting your homework through Blackboard. You probably don't have to look too hard to find solutions for the problems in this textbook. So I'm not going to give you a whole lot of partial credit for doing the homework. Basically, I just want to see that you tried to do the homework and hopefully were successful in doing the homework. And so your homework grade is going to be mostly based just on completion. If you have questions on the homework, you can ask me during office hours or you can contact me through email. And I'd be happy to help you with that. You can also collaborate with your classmates using the Discord server, and if a lot of you have the same question, that would be a good place to talk about that and help each other out. So homework is based on completion. You can upload it through Blackboard, and I'll talk more about that when I assign your first homework assignment. Let's take a look at Chapter 12, which is the first chapter in this textbook. If you use the statics textbook by the same author, that left off in Chapter 11, so this is a continuation of that. And you also may have purchased a textbook for statics that contains statics and dynamics. So there's a textbook that's about twice as thick as this one that is statics and dynamics all in the same textbook. Okay, so let's take a look at Chapter 12, and we have some problems here on page 17. We also have some fundamental problems here on page 16. So do be careful here because the fundamental problems have an F before the chapter number, and the regular problems don't. So homework will be coming both from the fundamental problems and the regular problems. Lecture examples will contain fundamental problems and regular problems, so just pay attention to whether or not there's an F before the problem number, because I know myself, I often get tripped up on that when I'm looking at a list of problems, and some of them are fundamental problems and some of them aren't. In the 14th edition, there's sometimes preliminary problems as well. These are good problems to go through to practice things. I will not be assigning any of these as homework because they are not in the 13th edition. Those are new for the 14th edition. But if you have the 14th edition, they're good to get your brain working when you start a new chapter. Okay, so in addition to the fundamental problems and the regular problems, at the end of a chapter, there are review problems. Those are great to go over when we finish a chapter. The nice thing about the review problems is the fundamental problems and the irregular problems appear at the end of a section. So this is section 12.2, which was rectilinear kinematics continuous motion. Therefore, when I'm doing these problems, I know that they are on rectilinear kinematics continuous motion, which might help me to solve the problem because I know what kind of problem it is. But if you look at the review problems, they're not listed by section. They probably are in order. But anyways, if you do a review problem, you don't necessarily know what section it came from. This is good practice for an exam because on an exam, I'm probably not going to tell you what equations you should be using or what section of the textbook the problem came from. So I would suggest doing the review problems to help you with that. Okay, so we have fundamental problems, regular problems, review problems, and also in the 14th edition we have those preliminary problems, which are good warm-up problems. Okay, now if you go to the end of the textbook, we have an appendix which with some useful information, but skipping over that, this is page 692. We have fundamental problems, partial solutions, and answers. Okay, when you write out your solution for the problem, it's probably going to be longer than this and have more detail. But if you're working on a fundamental problem and you're stuck, you can look at the partial solution in the back of the book, and hopefully there's enough detail there to get you unstuck. Okay, so that's an abbreviated solution for the fundamental problem. And then we go after fundamental problems, we have something similar for preliminary problems. Again, these are only in the 14th edition. I'm not assigning them as homework, but you might find them as useful as a helpful warm-up when we start a new section. Okay, and then after the preliminary problems, we have, solutions to review problems. So same kind of thing there. It might be a shorter solution than your solution, but helpful if you're stuck. Okay, and then after that, we have answers to selected problems. Okay, so selected problems, not necessarily all of them. I think that all of the problems I assign as homework, either the answer is in the back of the textbook or I actually have the answer provided for you in the homework assignment file. So if I do assign a problem for homework and the answer is not in the back of the textbook and I don't tell you what the answer is when I assign the homework, you can just ask and I'd be happy to add that to the homework assignment file so you can check your work. I would like you to at least check your answers for all of the homework problems, and on the top of your homework assignment, you'll have your name, the homework assignment number, and the homework problems listed out. And if you check your work or your answers for all the homework problems and you find that your answer does not agree with the answer in the textbook, you're going to write me a note on the top of the page to tell me that your answer doesn't agree. And then you're going to say something like, my answer does not agree and I have no idea what I'm doing, so this isn't a surprise, or my answer doesn't agree, but I'm pretty sure I know what I was doing and I don't know why the answer doesn't agree. And I will talk more about that when I assign your first homework problem. Okay, so please check your answers for the homework problems to see whether or not you are right before you submit your homework problems. And again, you probably don't have to look too hard to find solutions for the homework problems out on the internet, but I would like you to try and do them on your own. I don't mind if you use the solutions that are available somewhere on the internet to help you if you are stuck. You're also welcome to ask me if you have questions on the homework problems. Okay, so I think now, one other thing. There are equations listed on the inside front cover here. There's also some stuff on the back cover which isn't going to be helpful until the last half of this course. There's equations here. There's also an equation sheet on the M drive. You can go ahead and print that off for yourself now. I don't expect to be making any changes to that, so I'd go ahead and print it off and keep it handy when you go through the lecture videos and do your homework. Okay, so now we're going to talk about how this course is organized. Actually, I'm going to stop here because this video is over 10 minutes long already. So this will be part 1 of the introduction to this course, and we'll pick up with how the textbook is organized in the next video.